Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta. One of these is Justin, and
This
the
guy.
other one is Lessons. And we are back with episode 2 of Mobile Suit Gundam Origin. Who wants to recap?
Oh boy. Last time, first episode, we see the beginnings of the breakup of the Earth Force control over the colony, especially Site 7, as the death, well, sudden murder of one of their leaders, their spokesperson who was going to declare independence, um, is happens in front of the cameras live, and that's a little bit of a ruckus among the people. We also see that the two most powerful families, well, the most powerful family and the second most powerful family, are fighting over the children of this leader, who we might think is someone important, maybe, perhaps, in the future, might be important. Because they want to seize them as their legacy, right? Seize the children as the legacy, like they're the ones carrying the ideals of the which I forgot the name of the leader. If anybody can remember the name of the leader, they can tell me.
Well, helpfully, I've
Um,
actually just dropped a link to a concept board in the chat which has all of the names of the characters that we should all know right now.
yes.
Indeed.
I've been watching too much Japanese rom-com shoujo anime recently, and my brain is a bit mushy.
That's
Don't ask
fine.
me why.
My brain's
Yeah.
always mushy. Smooth brain over here.
The leader is Lucifer the cat.
Huh.
A wonderful, wonderful cat.
Don't open till Gundam 20. Okay, those are very specific instructions. I will follow. I can't.
The
Uh
board exists from work done in the future. Uh,
huh.
I guess let the audience know we've instituted a Justin rule here for the viewing, which is to say, don't say anything Justin shouldn't know. So,
Yeah.
so that applies to the concept board as well. So I'm kind of making it for scratch right now, up until that gift wrapped other side of the board.
So yes, the person that died was, and his name is Zeon Zoom Deikun, which of course Site Seven's government will take its name from it, from Zeon. Um, and the two families are and zabi, which, considering that the head of the zabi family, his name is Dedwin Sodo Zabi. That's a thing. There's also was an assassination of Sasro Zabi, which inflamed the situation even more. The children that are being fought over are casval Rem deikun and Artesia Sam deikun. They were under the custody of the Rao family, but then were returned to the deikun family, apparently, because it turns out that Estraya, their mother, well, being their biological mother, was not the wife of Zeon. So that's a problem because his real wife, Rosalucia, is not happy about it. Mostly because Artesia Astraya gave her two children. And she's much younger and far more beautiful than she was or is. Um, they concoct a plan to take. They basically said that Australia has to end up in a tower because, of course, in a colony where you have a city, you also have a tower in a lake for some reason, which essentially is a prison. In exchange for that, Casval and Artesia and their lovely little cat Lucifer are sent back to Earth with Jimbo Rao, the leader of the Rao family. This plan was concocted by Rambo Rao and Crowley Hammond, with the help of Tachi O'Hara. No connection to Bucky O'Hare for any reason. Um, and after fighting their way through the city, in which Casval discovers that he has an affinity for mobile suit combat, and basically destroys everything in his path until they get outnumbered, they manage to escape. Barely. But not before Cecilia Zabi Catherine, or should I be Catherine Cecilia Zabi, I suppose, uh, finds out what's going on, but lets him go because I suspect that she hates her family far more than she hates the Daikuns or the Rouse. It's like, well, this is another way. And we also suspect that she's the one who, because Sasro sassed her and, slapped her across the face, murdered Sasro in front of everybody. That's my suspicion, but I cannot verify that. Either way, her father, being the callous asshole that he is, basically took advantage of it anyway. Um, as this did her older brother, Giran. And so the lines are being violently drawn between the people of Side 7 and the Earth Federation, and essentially the Rows are being removed from the war mostly, or left powerless, as the Zabi are now taking over, and Casval and his sister are fleeing back to Earth.
All right. Well, let's see. I've already shown the board. Obviously,
Yep.
I've got a couple of thoughts I want to go through here, but do any of you have anything you want to bring up first and foremost?
No.
All right. If you haven't, I'm assuming Lessons would have brought it up in his recap. Then my couple of post-episode thoughts. In the intro to the episode, we started in January 23rd, the day before my birthday, witnessing a fight in the Loum sector between the Tiananmen fleet. Sorry, I always did this before, and I'm doing it again. Not the Tiananmen fleet, the Tian fleet, and a Zeon Vanguard fleet led by Admiral Dozel. It seems like the point of the intro was to introduce us to what the status quo will be in the past of the backstory, as well as to show us where certain characters will eventually show up. The example being Dozel going from whatever he is at the end of the first episode to becoming an admiral that everyone salutes and wishes luck with their dying breaths. I mean, he seemed the most down to earth of most of the zombies, but those people dying at the start were fanatics for him, it seemed. On top of that, we got our first look at mobile suits in the Universal Century, with the char plowing through ships, and I have to say, love that part too.
Char flying through the ships was great.
Well,
And I prefer mobile suits being that damaging versus seeing them flying around and bombarding ships and having minimal effect.
Well, I mean, again, it depends on this shot. Sometimes mobile suits are just another piece of equipment. Other times they are the stars of the show, especially when they're ace customs. And clearly, Char's is always an ace custom.
well, that doesn't mean anything to anybody but you right now. I mean, it doesn't mean anything to me. But also, I was going to say, Justin rule for this effect, the Justin rule is he's only seen up to, what are we, halfway through Seed? No, we're not halfway. First quarter of Seed. So
First quarter.
that's the only example he's got for Gundam at the moment.
Okay, let me see. They should already be an ace custom in Seed.
Again,
Ace Custom
that doesn't
was
mean
something- okay.
anything.
Let me explain what ace custom is. It's a trope much larger than Gundam. We've also seen it in Macross. We've seen other things. Essentially, an ace custom is some kind of mecha. It could be a tank, a fighter plane, a robot, transformable robot, which is manned usually by a principal character, or at least an important character. It has shiny colors to distinguish them from the others, and usually it's either itself has special weaponry that makes it more powerful, or allows this special character to do special maneuvers. The reason why it's called the Ace Custom is mostly just for the paint job.
I guess the only example we would have from that
Yeah.
in Seed would be what, Waltfield's Bruce?
Maybe I might say the strike would be the ace custom because of its versatility.
It's just a Gundam. The Gundams all have specializations. There's 5 of them.
Yeah.
But
The
that's the only
thing,
one we've seen suit up differently in multiple battles.
well, no, because the Bruces are all single pilot, what, blackish gray colored things, and then Waltfield's is a dual pilot, black and yellow orange.
So I'm going less by the color and more the fact that that the strike has different weapon packs and it has the phase armor.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Though, is all the Gundams are individually.
Let me put it this way: if you go to Macross, and we also watch a lot of Macross, Hikaru's and Roy's Baritex would be considered to be ace customs because A, they have distinctive paint jobs, and B, they have equipment that is not quite standard. They're not very different from anything else. I think the only difference is the head, where Hikaru's, when he still had it, had a twin laser mounts, and later on he takes over Roy's Skull 1, and has a quad laser mounts on the, it's kind of like speaker things that
Right. I think the debate that
rotate.
we're
That's it.
having though is that I don't think you can call any of the Gundams an ace custom because they're all unique. Each one is it. I mean, if you were going to say Gundam is a ace custom, then they're all ace customs because they're all uniquely. At least in Seed, in Seed you have 5 different Gundams and each one has its own pilot. They all have their specialization. So
yeah, those actually all of them would be ace custom.
Right, but I was taking the example of the of like the ground tier level unit where you have a bunch of all the same Bruces, and then the named guy who's the big bad has a Tony the Tiger version of them.
Yeah, that would consider an ace custom. Doesn't necessarily mean that. Okay. I mean, sometimes the rule is violated in which it looks like a normal Mosun, and then you have a badass driving it. It's like, oh shit, this guy is a badass, right? So even Gundam plays with that rule a lot. But yeah, in that scene, we're clearly shown that it's a bright red mech with a big gun, and he's tearing through this fleet, right?
Well,
I mean, the other ones also doing.
Specifically, there's 3 other characters who say, "God damn it, it's that Char again. He's like a red comet." They're pumping him up too.
Yeah,
true.
Because and good in that scene in that we get to see him do it, right? Because sometimes they're like, "Oh, that guy is great. That guy is awesome," and we never see it. It's like everybody thinks he's great, But we do get to see later on that it's not the ace custom that matters, but the pilot, when we see Casval doing his thing, even though he's a little kid, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Also, there's talk about a philosophy which doesn't really get explained a lot, but there's clearly a division between the space noids and the Terrans, like the Earth noids. That's a term that gets used, which is used for people who live in space, in the space station, space noids, and the Terranoids? Earthnoids?
I think they're all just
they're Earthnoids. Terranoids would be a great name, but that's never going to be used.
Yeah. Living on Earth, with the implication that the people from the Earth Federation are mostly Earthnoids, and of course, everybody from Zeon, being born in the space stations, are space noids. We don't get a lot of specifics about what this Zeon's philosophy he was talking about.
It's funny. That's why That's when I broke out laughing a little bit when you started this, because this is okay. I think I had Justin read this once. There was a breakdown of Zeon's philosophy that you could pick up from something that happens in the first episode that a commenter tossed to us, and me and Griffin went over it once, and then I had Justin read it once and tell me what he thought, and I thought, this time we just won't do it. Lessons knows way too much anyway. He doesn't need to read this. And then you start going into it, and it's like, oh, geez, the one time I didn't have anybody read it.
I mean, I seen more of this series, so I have a pretty good idea what they're talking about. But since we're following the Justin rule, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll just put that in chat in case you ever want to see it. But I would love to stick to the Justin rule. So, next thought though, this is what we talked about in the episode, and apparently I had written down it as a thought before. The eponymous Estrella made to Artesia to meet her again in 100 cycles of the moon. If we believe it to not just be an empty promise to calm down her daughter, that would be 8 years down the road. I assumed they were just words made to save her daughter, but if something happens between the two in Universal Century 0076, then we'll know it was a real promise. This is something I'm going to mention a lot. I don't know how to read these gear names. Like,
I think that was actually a actual intended promise.
I said,
think
I
that was
don't
an
know.
educated guess in the time it would take for her to set up a way for her to get off of planet and possibly find her daughter.
I don't know. What year is it? 0068, is it? Right now? 00... Yeah, 0068, right? No.
68. Well, it's 8. The war is in 0078, I think it is.
Justin Rule. No, wait, that was a prequel. Never mind. Sorry,
Yeah.
that was at the
I'm
very
not.
beginning of the episode. See, I'm real hesitant about just
That
throwing
means
numbers out.
I
absolutely
mean,
nothing
technically,
to
we
me.
start the first scene. It
It
starts
is.
in the
Sorry.
war. So.
Yeah, that's why I was saying. That's why I backed off real quick. It's like, oh nope, that's just me being overprotective. No, it is.
Although
It is
I
Universal
will.
Century 0068. I have a timeline of notes, which is my
Mhm.
problem since it comes from the end, or not from the end. I made this throughout the thing, and I put them all in order, so I don't know which is said first. But thankfully, I wrote down who died when, so I have a note here in 0068, dead Sasro. So I know that can't be anything but this.
Uh, there's one thing I will say about the opening scene. It is a cool opening scene designed to introduce us to a character. Okay, cool. And it's like, oh, remember, this is a Gundam show and has giant robots in it that fight in space and whatever, and that's also cool. But basically, it's rule of cool. You could have done the whole thing without that scene. Like you could just have like a brief flashback, or you know, the battle starts and you can have the character looking about and go like, yeah, this is starting. Okay, cool, and just walk away. You know, it's one of those things. It reminds me of one of those things when beginner writers are like, oh, I have these cool scenes in my head, but I don't know how to connect them between scenes to make an entire story. In other words, they don't know how to do setup and payoff. This is supposed to be a setup for something much bigger, and for people who know, they know. But it has no real effect for people who don't know. It's like,
Well, I mean, that's
ah,
why I just said
yeah,
in a note before that these are the
yeah,
things that that scene does for the episode that it's in.
which is not really that much,
Well, as I
to be
said, it
perfectly
tells
honest.
us what to expect from the series. Like,
Yeah, but
basically, um, not so much with Char because we really don't know him as well. I think Dozel is really our point of perspective from the intro to the story of the first episode because we see what kind of person he is to what kind of person he will become. His very minute scenes between them are really the. See, I keep wanting to call it a prequel, but the whole fucking thing is a prequel. You know, the prequel part of the episode to the episode itself.
yeah, but to be perfectly honest, you can eliminate that entire scene and nothing is lost.
Yeah, but I really liked it though, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's just real cool.
If I
Basically,
was
it's like
gonna, if I was doing a
we really
fan
need
edit,
a
I wouldn't.
yeah. It really was very much we need a giant robot fight in this. You know, just to remind everybody that this is
Even though we
Gundam.
dead end the whole episode with a giant robot fight.
Yeah,
Well,
which
I think
ironically, I think the fight in the streets is way cooler because it's more visceral than that fight than the beginning.
the fight in the streets has a bit more of an impact, but I wouldn't say it's cooler. The space fight's cooler, but it lacks impact because we don't have any connection to Char at this point. We don't have a connection to those ships. We have a connection to Casval because Casval's a kid who's like, they're like, you need to stay safe. He's like, nah, I'm the head of the family now. We're
Yeah,
dealing with this. Like they build up Casval to be something versus the other fight just happening.
yeah.
All right. I don't know if it was obvious or not, but Giran essentially tells Cassilia that he knows that she killed Cesaro after she comes to him wanting him to let her take over the scheming against the Daikuns. By the way, yeah, I hear you say Deikuns, and I keep calling them Daikuns. I don't know which one is right. I'm just gonna stick to what my brain tells me. The scene
I will
right
call
after.
them the Decons.
Well, I think I'm influenced by My Hero Academia, where Deikun,
Daikun, yeah,
or he's
Daikun.
called Deku there, but put an I sound in it, and it's the same thing. But yeah, right after the scene where she had handcuffed Casval, and I know Lessons brought this up in the recap. I think it's more so. I'm just saying I don't think it's just a theory. I think it's true enough that I put it on the board with a red line.
Yeah.
All right, last thought here. A generation is said to be about 20 to 30 years. I bring this up because Rose Lucia mentions that she and Zeon were second generation colonists on Munzo. That does two things for my speculations on the characters. First off, with Artesia being Zeon's mistress, it's entirely possible he went young, given how much younger he and Rose Lucia look than her, and that she could be third generation, and thus the kids be fourth generation. If she's around the same age, then the kids are just third generation, whatever. It's just something to consider. The other half of that is that the current year is, again, I don't know how to say these years. I find it weird that they start their calendar with 4 digits. UC 0068, which means that the outside consideration of what it means that a generation is, that means the first generation of colonists on Munzo were around UC 0008. Sorry, just say 8. UC 8, or later, meaning that universal century probably dictates mankind's expansion into space and the development of the colonies themselves, given how much of an overlap year zero would have to have with the building of the colonies.
I do get a sense, and this is just maybe a pet theory of mine. We go back to the relationship between the three, right? The Ast, Astraya,
The confusion I always get is her
Rose
mother
Lisa,
names and her daughter's
uh,
name are kind of too
yeah,
similar for me.
Rose Lucia and Zeon. Is that I think Rose Lucia was she's the one with the money. In other
Yeah,
words, I can see that Zeon was the man with the ideas that attracted this somewhat younger, by the time. I think he's younger than she is, by the way. She's the oldest person, except
I
for
don't know.
maybe
Some people age differently.
yeah. But she's also seen a wheelchair and all that, so she apparently has either a crippling disease of some sort
Well, I mean,
or
she says that they're both
condition.
second generation, so it means they're
Yeah.
of a near
But
age.
I think it's what happened. If I were to imagine, we were talking about last time, going back to how that happened. They're young university students, right? He's a rabble rouser, becomes a student leader, has this clique of people who gather around him, right? It's like, oh, he has this new ideas. It's Zeon, right? The philosophy of Zeon, right? He's spouting this idea, which a lot of people find attractive because it's like they're getting tired of being controlled by, you know, the Earth Federation. So here's someone who's proposing a different view, right? So he becomes a revolutionary leader. But in order for him to really have the impact to make this happen, he needs wealth and power. And I think that's why he marries Rose Lucia. And I think Rose Lucia knows it, right? Because she's like, oh, yeah, we were gathered around him and he had all the ideas, right? So even though he's the one and his family supposedly who, the husband and therefore takes control of the family, and it's his name that eventually will become the name of the nation. Or it is the nation already because Zeon
It's
exists.
not. It's not. You're just throwing that out every time. It's not yet. Hadn't
Um,
happened.
no, they haven't declared independence. He was about to declare independence, and
Yep.
yeah, and he died. And I think that's also part of resentment, right? That there's a part of him he's very calculating and manipulative. Like, oh, I want to marry this woman because she's going to give me the social status and money to me to be able to elevate myself and become something important that people can't ignore. But I also need children to carry out my legacy. So I'm going to marry this other woman who he clearly was more interested in because he walks in and the domestic scene. He walks into the mother with him and has a conversation with mother children and he hugs his daughter very tightly. So again, it's very Dune like, right? Where if people haven't
I
read the books
think
or
that resentment on Rose Lucia's part as well might be the fact that they both chose her as the surrogate based off like genetic qualities and just natural sort of aspects. And
Only
then
for it to backfire on them.
it backfired on her because he's like, well, we did this, so she's going to stay around now because we need someone to raise the kids. So it turned into like well, wait, no. She was supposed to just be here to give you children. Why the hell is she raising them?
Because I
mean-
boned her and I liked it.
I mean, part of what Lesson said we know is true because Rose Lucia herself said it, that we used to gather around. She makes it sound like I don't know, like during the Red Scare when you would have like communist little groups get together in the
Mhm.
in like colleges and things like they said we used to gather together and listen to him say about his shit.
Yeah. So I'm not disputing that fact.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
think
saying
that's
that we know that's
completely
true.
accurate.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not countering anything. I'm just saying I don't know so much about the second half of Lesson's theory about why Estrella comes about at all. Because the way Rose Lucia says it, it's just like I found you in a club. You know,
Because it's
great men
implied
get
that
taken
Estrella
down
can't have
by hot women.
It was implied that Estrella can't, not Estrella, but Rose Lucia can't have children.
Yeah.
Oh, she outright says it. I couldn't
Yeah.
have any children. I couldn't give him the children that he wanted. Right.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I just don't know the motivations.
So
It sounds weird. I just
Yeah.
don't. I don't.
And I think there's. I don't think there's ever doesn't feel like Zeon and Rose Lucia had any genuine affection. That what linked them to them was the ideology.
We never
he
see
might
them
have had
together.
it for him, but I don't think it was
Yeah.
returned.
Yeah, it was not returned.
Well, I mean, they obviously don't live together because you know their place gets taken. Well, no, maybe I don't know. The implication might be that the place that they were living was Rose Lucia's place, and that she's there when they get back. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think they say no. They do say we're gonna go back home.
Yeah, and she's
Yeah,
there, and
well.
she's like, "It's my place." So they were all living together.
Yeah. So they were all living together, and that could again show the resentment towards why did this person stay around once the children are there, like because she didn't even really see them as her kids. She saw them as the kids of the family, but not hers.
Yeah. And also it's very interesting that she never. Another reason why I think it's she was the money but not the power. That's why I would say that she had money and position, but not it was Zeon who had the power, right? And because everything that happens, they go after even in the ceremony where this man died, it was Casval, her mother, and her sister that are there. She's not seen in the funeral, right? She's supposed to be the legal wife. I don't think she was.
I
we see the
believe
three
she
cars.
was. Wait,
we see 3 cars.
Oh, you're talking about the car. I'm talking about when they're at the funeral itself, like when we see Casval looking over at some blue-haired kid. That when we pan over the people at the funeral, I believe she's there.
Well, she was not very well. He probably was there, but the way everything is shot, especially when they're coming back, and the fact that the focus of these 2 families is on getting them to safety, right? And safety, basically having them as what's the name, hostages.
Well, I
They're
mean,
basically
the
taking them as hostages.
procession after the funeral is mostly the Zabi family procession. That's why you wouldn't
But
see
she's
her.
there. But her car is there as well, which is the car that explodes in front of them. So she's part of the procession. So we see the 2 Zabi cars. One explodes. Then we see the Zeon car, and then we see probably some other cars, but we don't see who's on those cars. Yeah, because really they see
be more than 2 Zabi cars.
Yeah, there were more than 2. There was one in front. Then the middle one was the one that exploded. Then the one in the back was Casval and his family, because they see it and like, oh shit, it's exploded. And then you have other people as well, but we don't see. There are other cars, but we don't see who's on those cars. So
I don't know. I would say maybe 4 cars.
Probably. Again, the fact that she's in that procession right behind the Zabis shows you how important they are compared to the actual wife of the man that died, who is the widow, who should be of importance, right?
I mean,
like,
it's that
the
or
president
self-importance.
No, but it also, remember, the moment he dies, especially the Zabis, they move quickly enough to control everything. They control the media, they're controlling the message. They're the ones who always
Oh
had
yeah,
the
no,
upper
yeah, they
hand
take
here.
political power, whereas Jimba
Around
goes to
Gimbo.
secure the family.
Because that's the only play he has. We
Well,
get a
because
sense
the
that that's
family also represents power, the same way that
exactly.
everyone is like, up in arms about what the fuck has happened to the Daikuns because they're
Mhm.
Zeon's family.
Yeah.
They're both
Well,
making
So
two different power plays.
it's the it's also it's a power play, but it's not a power play for the current. Because the fact that the father was killed means they've already lost this fight. Because there's no way you can expect a child to lead a nation and it to be successful. There is so few examples of that actually happening. Where if
I
you
mean,
see that the fight is basically if that there is a 5% chance left of you succeeding right now versus you getting the person who can succeed later and you can set them up for success, that's the move.
see that's the thing. You have it when Zeon dies. There's a power vacuum, and usually because this is pseudo nobility as well. We're talking about families that are kind of treated like nobility, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and not quite because we don't get titles of prince or king or whatever, but still that's the implication. We said total bullshit, or soon to be. You would think that the widow of the man who died would have a very important position, right? It's more likely for her to move in and say, "Oh well, my dead husband wanted to this happen and this happen and happen." And the only thing that she does is that she's trapped in her house with two bodyguards, and when they come back to the house, like, okay, you get the tower, and that's it. It seems like that's the only thing she can do, right? At best, she could probably finagle, like, yeah, I'll keep him here, and that's the only power that she has. But at no point does the zombies go to her and go like, "Listen, you're part of this. What are you gonna do?" Right? Even if it's just sort of like patting in on her and go, "Hey, we know you have enough power here or public recognition that people, if we move directly against you, it's going to look bad. So how about we talk?" Right? No, everything happens and she just has to accept it. The only power move that she has is to lord it over her competition, her jilted lover, the mistress of his dead husband. It's like, okay, you get the tower, bitch, because now I'm in charge of this house. That's what she says. That's the first thing she says. This is my house, right? But that's the extent of it. You would think that she would have more power, which means she never really had that power in the first place without her husband. She probably had a lot of money, and her family had recognition. But it's like those patrician families in the 19th century where they have the title, but they don't have money, and they start marrying into very wealthy Americans or Germans because they're on the industrial age because they're losing power because land is not that important anymore. But kind of like reverse, right? He is the rich. He's the famous guy. Doesn't have has political power and fame, but doesn't have the money. Rose Lucia was the status, familial status, and money, and that's why they got together. I mean, that's my impression of it, right?
Mhm.
But the moment that happened, she couldn't give him any children, and I don't think he was never really interested in her. So he walked into a bar, saw this pretty woman. It's like, yeah, you're gonna be the woman of my children. But I have to keep the illusion that I'm still married to my wife because I'm gonna lose all that money if I don't, right? I lose the resources. So the only thing is that she has the money, and that's why they didn't get divorced and set up this situation. Otherwise, he could have like, yeah, I got a new wife. I'm the important one. You get divorced, get half the amount of money, and it doesn't matter, right? So she probably had a lot of, or her family had a lot of importance in the beginning, but the more Zeon became more and more important in the situation and critical to the change, she got more into the background and got sidelined, including, sidelined in her own home with her husband boning some other woman and having kids with her. And when he comes home, he's like, "Yeah, honey, I'm home," and goes to her instead of, Rose Lucia.
The Showtime version of Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin.
Yeah,
Sorry, maybe I'm the only one that grew up in that age.
As
no,
long
I
as
get
we
what you're
don't,
saying.
as long as
Without
we don't
the
get to the HBO version, I'm okay.
No, Showtime version would be the
raciest one.
no, yeah, it'd be the Skinamax version.
Yeah.
Is that even a channel anymore? Anyway, Any other any other thoughts before we get into
No,
this?
That's it for me.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into it.
Let's do it.
But before we get started,
Make sure that you hit the like button.
Hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
on top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
Unfiltered.
Uncensored.
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
You can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
人類は新たな天地を求めて宇宙に進出した時代、それは宇宙世紀と名付けられた。彼らの未来は地球の周りに建設された巨大なスペースコロニーに委ねられたのだ。しかしその第二の故郷は約束された楽園ではなかった。
I've always said that they look like helium canisters, at least from the side.
They do.
サイド3にスペースノイドの独立と人類の革新を訴える指導者が現れた。その名はジオンズム大君。
This is why my timeline section of my notes is so confusing, because I wrote all this down. I've got the years from before the show starts.
だがそれは人類史上にかつてなかった悲惨な戦争へと続く茨の道の始まりに他ならなかった。
So Zeon's to blame for all the events. Got it.
サイド3、すなわちムンゾに自治政府を
Well,
樹
if you
立し
listen to lessons from the very beginning of the first
地
recording,
球連邦政府に認めさせた。
he's an unparalleled fascist.
自治権の拡大と完全なる独立を目指す大君の戦いは地球連邦軍による厳しい弾圧に直面することとなった。
Okay, that's not right.
宇宙世紀
Because it's supposed to be a Lagrange point, right? If I remember correctly.
It is a Lagrange point.
Yeah, but it's on the other side of the moon.
Yeah, there's
There is
Lagrange
no other.
point.
You can't have a Lagrange point on the dark side of the moon.
There is a Lagrange
there's
point
no-
around the moon. I can't remember exactly where it is.
No. Okay. You know what a Lagrange point is, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, like, make a note. We'll cover that after the episode. Otherwise, we're talking over a bunch of shit, which I know we're supposed to do, but not tangents.
民衆は地球連邦による暗殺を疑い激高した。そして大軍陣営内部でも積年の派閥構想が一気に爆発した。長く大軍を支え、その右腕と称されてきた。
See, that's the zabi
この機会を逃さなかった。
Yeah.
-1. I guess 2. There was a driver in that car.
その一党は
Yeah, no, that driver is gone.
家族を囲い込もうとしたライバルラルケを打倒し、事実上ザビ家がムンゾの実権を掌握した。
Yep.
大君の妻アストライアは幽閉された。そしてその子キャスバルとアルテイシアはムンゾ防衛隊のランバラル大尉とクラウレハモンの活躍により
I mean, at the end of the day, Caecilia just did let them go.
地球へ脱出するのだった。
Yep. There's got to be something more to that plan, though.
みんなの敵だ。やっつけてやる。
幼い二人は広大な未知の世界と過酷な運命に直面することになった。
And right about here is where we had the debate about where they got taught that they were in a space colony at school or
大
not.
人たちの暗い争いを知るキャスバルを変貌させてゆく。
And this is where the show ends because their escape route gets blown up by Char. Right? That's how it works.
Now, I heard that was brutally and not important to the whole show, and it could have been. So, what was that, 3 years later?
Andalucía.
10歳。ああ、 見えないな。しっかりしているよ。
助かるね。
which is something you never want to hear from an adult man.
あそこに住んでるの？これは驚いた。
That is not a unproblematic statement.
Why is she wearing that kind of hard hat in Spain?
Keep the sun off your head.
Yeah, no, but that sounds like a Mexican sombrero, and people in Spain don't wear that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Looks more like a... I can't think of... Like a wicker. Just look like a wicker hat. So maybe just, you know?
Climate change ain't real.
I was going to say, I don't know if the spreading of the desert implies it's any hotter in Spain than it normally is.
今のお子様が例の？
そうです。
まあ、お見受けしたところ。
実の親子のようでしょ。正直に言って最初は気乗りしなかったのです。旧知の友人のためとはいえ、何の関わりもないスペースコロニーの清掃に巻き込まれる危険もあるわけだし。でも、初めて
The risk is still there.
家庭を持つ市民の幸せが。
あらま、シャワーをなさるんじゃ。いいの。プールで泳ぐから。
The chlorine will disinfect me.
True.
ヤスバル様、よそ見はいけませんぞ。ここは大切なところです。スペースノイドの歴史。
I don't know, did he have liver spots 3 years ago?
人の革新を悲壮化されたとき、
Mm,
という偉大な概念が生まれたのです。
no? Not sure.
I think losing everything that he owned probably aged him pretty quickly. Also living in Spain with the hot sun probably didn't.
ならよろしい。人類が宇宙へ出て地球を一生命体として見られるようになって初めて進化の時が与えられたのです。不完全なコミュニケーションを超えて互いを理解し合いのみならず身体的にも新たな可能性を獲得した。
Is new types the introduction of the idea of coordinators?
One, answering that would be a spoiler. And two... Eh?
Okay.
高等弁務官のお役に立てて光栄です。ただ、治安と衛生の面だけは管理していただけませんと。
I'm just remembering that Tamino wrote that Zelensky could be a proto new type in a recent published article, like within the last year. So
よりにもよってジオン大君を謀殺したザビ家の者どもの温度でお父様の死因が毒殺であることは明白です。ある種の毒物を服用させ続けることによって心臓を弱らせ。
he was gripping his chest the first time we saw him reading his papers.
アルテイシア様、いいところへ来られた。
また毒の話。
え？
お兄さん、なんだか。
え？気分が悪い？
Uh-oh.
熱がある。
Well, this is why you disinfect yourself, like they said, every time you come back from a refugee camp.
Oh, and they're from space, so they don't have the same. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's it. That if what I think is about to happen is going to happen, explains far more than the first movie ever did about certain characters' motivations.
I mean, the first movie is a grouping of a bunch of the episodes together, so.
勝手なことをなさっては困る。統制局の役人、嘘をおっしゃい。あれはアナハイム社のチェルシー副社長だ。私の商売敵だった男だ。見間違えるわけがない。 とにかく私の部屋でじっくり話し合いましょう。
Wow.
That's a big man.
言いなさい。彼らと何を相談していましたか。
すまん。
サイド3への武装反抗の企てですね。私に断りもなく勝手なことを許しません。そんなものが成功するはずもない。
それはやってみなければわからん。アナハイム社は全面的に協力すると言ってくれた。武器も資金も加えて連邦中枢に
It's a weird thing to think of.
取り付けてくれるとも。これでも成功しないと言えるだろうか。しかも我々の側には。
我々の側には
Because we know the Earth Federation forces are still on Munzo.
Yeah.
So this guy is trying to get a company to support an armed overthrow of an independent party of which the Earth Federation forces are still there anyway.
あの麗しく成長したキャスバルとアルテイシアを見れば民衆はこぞって我が方につくだろう。
I don't know if they're gonna get to see both of the children.
大君の子では生き延びられんというから私は二人をマスケの席に入れたのだ。
それは一時の方便と百も承知のはず。許されんぞ。あの二人をお前さんだけのものにするの。
Too late. You already did.
外で勝手にそういう企てをするがいい。あなたにそれだけの覚悟があり、あの二人もそれについていくというのなら、私も潔く親権を放棄し、この3年余りのことは全て忘れよう。なんでもないことだ。あの子たちが命を懸けた戦いに立とうと決意することに比べれば。
Oh, he cares. That's good.
Yeah, he's bluffing this guy. We just saw him saying, "Oh, I really do love being a parent." So.
アナハイム社ほどの巨大企業が味方してくれたら勝負に出られるかと。
彼らはただ儲け話に乗ろうとしているだけだ。ジオンもザビ家もあなたたちのこともどうでもいい。それがアナハイムという軍産複合企業なんです。
Yeah.
さもあろうが、わしは乗せられてみようと思ったのだよ。ザビ家がジオンを名乗るなど耐えられん。わしは夢を見たかったんだ。もう一度夢を。それもいかんのだろうか。わしはもう夢を見ることも許されんのか。
You know the difference is between dreams and this? This is reality.
Yeah.
And in case you didn't pick up on it, now there's Sayla Mass and Edward Mass.
急に来てから43回目の満月です。満月から次の満月までの日数が1ヶ月もあると知ったとき、お母さんはひどいと思いました。でももうすぐ50回、半分。100回の頃には私は今よりもっと大きくなっているから、お母さんはきっとびっくりね。お兄さんは
No, don't. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're having another Pluto moment here.
I mean, Sayla was always an adorable kid.
どういう具合だね。
多分風邪でしょうが、キャンプで患者と接触したとしたらサハラ熱の可能性もあります。とにかく様子を見ましょう。
僕、朝までここについています。
それはいい。助かるね。何かあったらすぐに呼んでください。
Oh, a red moon.
Blood moon, some would say.
Yeah.
Great sign.
That must be a Terminator outside.
And the dog's barking, it means nothing. Uh-oh.
犬が急に泣き止んだ。どうしたんだ？
Don't get too close to the window.
Mm-hmm.
Artesia, 起きろ。アルテシア。逃げるんだ。
なんだ
That's you being shot.
Oh, you thought we were gonna shoot T-Blow? We got medieval knights for that shit. As I understand it, this is explained a lot more in the manga.
Yeah, that's
why there's a guy in medieval armor just out and about.
Yeah.
In past comment sections, there have been some insane theories thrown out. But hey, benefit, no peripheral vision.
I was about to say, anybody else, that's a horrible hiding spot.
Goodbye, Jimba.
Nice knowing you, Jimba.
That's what you get for having a dream. In fact, we probably have you to blame for this. You and your fucking dream.
Yeah.
Because they're never, not fake swords.
True.
Fooled you.
Yeah,
That's called armor. That's how that works.
The one situation this guy was prepared for. A sword fight.
He would also be pretty protected against gunfire.
Don't think so.
right in the eye hole.
Actually,
in the mouth hole.
Yeah. If only this guy was Alphonse Elric.
That's gotta hurt.
Ow. Yeah, the armor actually didn't help with that fall. It probably made things worse. Now the cops show up.
ひどいな、これは。まるで市街戦の後だ。物取りはやらんな。普通ここまで。
Well, I mean, remember the castle is a ways away from town. We saw that drive with the people observing the cars.
今井、ダメだ。一般人は入れるなと言っただろう。ヤシマカンパニー CEO、中ヤシマ。いや、よく来てくれた。こんな格好ですまない。
Oh, he survived.
ご災難でしたな。
Yeah, all the fat cushion to fall.
ジンバラル氏とアナハイム社が接触したために襲われました。ずっと監視されていた
Oh,
の
it
で
was
す。
his fault.
なのについ気を緩めてしまった。3年以上も何事もなかったものだから。2人は無事でした。でももうダメです。私にはあの2人を守ってやる力はありません。
ドンテアボロ、ルームにお住まいになりませんか？
ルーム？サイド 5？
あのコロニーの一機を私は持っています。
Texas
コロ
colony.
ニーというのです。
It was funnier at the time because I don't know if you guys know, but Griffin is from Texas. So, the sudden appearance of Space Texas.
Hey,
There's
you
always
know what?
a Space Texas.
Space Texas, where dreams are made.
そのテキサスコロニーになぜ？
ザビ家に標準の意を表すのです。
標準？
サイド3、ムンゾに一番近いルームなら監視されやすい。そこにいる者が犯行などするはずがない。そう思わせるのです。欺くわけではないのですよ、ザビ家を。事実、あなたはそうお考えのはずだ。
おお、その通りだ。ありがとう。そうさせてもらうよ。弱い私にはそんな君の気持ちが一番。
He might. I'm pretty sure he's dealing with a broken back.
I mean, it's like a full body cast.
Yeah.
ありがとう。いいお嬢さんだ。
Sadly, though, his blood pressure is better than mine.
ああ、いかん。紹介してくれた。娘の未来です。飛び級でカレッジに進みます。こう見えても宇宙飛行士になりたいなんて言うんですよ。
What does that even mean anymore?
いい娘さんだ。未来さんか。未来は日本語だね。英語では確かフューチャー。いい名前だ。あなたたちに良い未来があるといいね。下がって下がって。もっと下がれ。ダメだ。野獣馬を入れたのは。出ろ。外へ出ろ。ダメだ。うざいもダメだ。
Oh, Lucifer is still around.
どうしたね？
今あそこに女の子と男の子が見えたけど、それがお話の。
ああ、そうだろう。
かわいそう。
Meanwhile, on Munzo,
They took full control.
and yes, I did have myself drawn as Kirin Zabi.
キシリア、ジンバラルをやったな。
はい、いけませんでしたか。
だが、二人の方はしくじった。出先に任せきるからそうなる。違うか。親衛隊は今までの私兵とは違う。その長になったからには責任を持って部下を統率しろ。
See, I like her old hairstyle better than this one.
わかりました。
ドズルがいないようだが、急用です。それも重要な。ガルマ、わしの車に乗り。
はい。
That look.
That is a grandson, right? I think.
No, that's a
Youngest
son.
son. Youngest son.
Yeah.
Youngest son.
I know I'll have a longer thought about this later, but that look from Girin to Cassilia just reads to me as, you didn't bomb this car too, did you?
Yeah, I know. I got the same vibe. What messed with me is the sudden change in vibe.
It just extremely reads as though, Garma, get in my car, they wouldn't kill you.
Until the dawn.
I'm surprised that she's still alive and still doing the same job as she did before.
Oh, you're thinking of the wrong person. This is the person
No,
we've seen exactly here before.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I'm surprised.
Oh,
Remember,
okay.
considering what she was involved in.
Sorry, the
know.
half-an-hour conversation we had about their mother. I thought you were still talking about her.
No.
To be fair, she was disguised and paid off a lot of people.
Yeah, but she also was seen by what's
Yeah,
her name?
then right. I forgot my whole thing about Casselia. Casselia letting them go. So obviously something else is at play here.
And somebody in the animation team has a thing for blonde bar singers because damn.
Well, I was about to say that whoever the voice actress is for the song, I don't know if it's the same person.
Probably not.
As the well, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah.
But they're doing a real good job.
That was a mistake.
It's one thing that makes me happy anymore, and y'all fucking ruined it.
後片付けはご心配なく。すまんな。では少し暴れさせてもらうぞ。
Oh.
Oh, I love it when they no-sell something like that. Because a bottle will just crack your skull open.
There is some truth behind that, the way that bottle works. Because if you're gonna use a bottle, you want to use the bottom of it, because it's more solid.
Remember, Dozel was working on something more important.
連邦の雑魚を相手に白兵戦か。ダルケだと。そんなものはもうない。ってあんたらに首に殺された。そうだったな。気の毒なことをした。何？頼みがあってきた。聞いてくれんか。俺の顔を立てて。頼み？
I love it, those questions in Japanese, like, Tony? Like, what?
I mean, you always read the inflections.
Yeah, no, but I love it that because of the way Japanese is spoken, they have this one answer or like two-syllable answer, which is like, huh?
Well, I think it's because most Japanese words, or I don't know. I've had a hard time trying to learn Japanese over years and it's just failed.
So each side has multiple canisters of CO2.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
やはりラルタイでありましたが、お久しぶりであります。ガイア君ぞ、貴様、将校になったのか。はい。早い昇進だな。何か手柄を立てたのか。
I murder your family.
Grew a beard. Beard makes me distinctive from all background characters.
Yeah. That's why I have mine.
Mash and Ortega do sound like two different styles of potato.
01。これで連邦を叩き潰す。モビルワーカー。
各種センサー異常なし。距離600でスタートします。ターゲットスタンバイ。
あのガンタンクは裏ルートから入手した連邦の MBT。 実験スタート。
Although that line in the middle kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
走行状態加速中。距離450。ターゲット射撃開始。双方前進異常なし。砲弾良好。強化は予想範囲内。オルテガシールドをしっかり警備しろ。ちょうどいいもんだぜ。
I mean, to be fair, having played Gundam Evolution, I know the gun tank is not very accurate.
It seems like the gun tank is about to get smoked.
And thus it begins. Hey, Kojak. The Night Stalker, if anyone didn't know. That's not a Gundam reference at all. In case someone thinks I'm spoiling something.
Oh, let's see who this is.
早く来なさい。だからまだ開けちゃダメだって言っただろ。
買ってやるんじゃなかった。
どうしたね、セーラ。
男の子が大きなおもちゃに逃げられそうになって。
そうか。
That doesn't mean anything to me.
おもちゃなんだろう。
Okay.
ルシファー、また宇宙へ行くのよ。これがお母さんのところへ帰るのだったら。
Yeah, the cat doesn't buy us.
I think Lucifer is just not a fan of space travel.
Or cages, for that matter.
そうですか。ローゼルシア様は亡くなられていたのですね。知らなかったのですか。
Off-screen death.
私には何も知らされないんです。あの子たちが今どうしているかも。そんなことも。アルテイシアはここを出るとき、毎日手紙を書くと言っていたからきっと。
お二人は元気です。地球でテアボロマスという方の養子になって、それで。
いいのよ、クラウレ。今のお話で十分。ねえ。
Yeah, she's looking rough. I'm guessing she's malnourished.
I mean, we know that they literally implied that they poisoned Zeon to death with water, and she's got like a thing of water right next to her on the table.
Mm-hmm.
明日のことなんか考えもせずに生きてた。そこへ疲れたあの人が来た。ただ優しくしてあげたかっただけ。傷ついたあの人に。それがどんなことか
I
も
mean,
し
so
れ
you
ない。
started it.
でも後悔はしていないわ。
Yes, show him some kindness.
I mean, but she would have to look rough in this scene, otherwise I would never be able to tell her and him apart.
Yeah.
あの子たちと。
そう、そろそろ面会は。あと、お薬の。
Her medicine.
アストライアは今眠っています。
So who the fuck do you work for anymore?
そのくらいのことはしてあげられるでしょう。
Probably the Sabis.
Well, I mean, Rose Lucia is dead. Who's even keeping her in the tower?
Probably the Sabis.
That's what I would guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're clearly poisoning her to death, so...
OG mobile suit fights.
Yeah, that means nothing to me.
I at least appreciate that we see him rip out one of the cables on the upper shoulder of the Gundam. Not Gundam, the mobile suit.
Yeah.
And then it hits one more time with that arm, and then we can see it flapping off to the side. Because I was thinking, well, what the fuck did that cable do? He's still using the arm. And then it goes limp after one more use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe we don't put the pilot right in the front, in the middle.
Yeah, well, that's what he's saying, basically.
Yeah, that's what I know. I'm agreeing and just making that ironic. Maybe don't make the biggest target on this thing the person controlling it.
違いますって。僕はボランティア。あ、ほら危ない。肩を。いらん。あ？
いや。僕は空いているか。
そんなこと何もあなたが。
軽蔑しろ。俺はザビ家の雇われ犬になった。
ドズル様の御用なのでしょ。あの方はギレンやキシリアとは違います。
He's still a Sabi though.
That's why I mentioned before about the opening of the first episode. You have people that are like wishing him luck with their dying breath. So clearly he's something more.
I mean, he seems to be a leader to his men, right? He inspires.
Well, I mean, he was also like, hey, let's not kill the kids in the first episode, too.
Yeah.
Casval と Artesia はルームに来るのだったな。
はい。
ルームか。
Yeah, it's the moon.
Jesus, everyone's got such bright blue eyes.
That's where he learns how to ride a horse. He's riding a horse right now, I bet you. I mean, he's a good. We know that casval is a good horse rider. I know that.
Holy jeez.
Yeah, fuck Texas. Welcome to Wyoming.
もちろん。
サールシパ、新しいお家よ。
Oh, the guns in the mantle, of course. Poor pony. It's like, Jesus Christ, woman, get off me.
Yeah.
You can't make a horse do anything he doesn't want to do.
His knees are gonna be messed up based off the way he's riding that horse. There is zero give.
勇ましいカーボーイだね。名前はもしかしてセーラマス？僕はシャア・アズナブル。君たちの来ることは聞いていたよ。
シャア・アズナブル？
父に会ったろ？言ってなかった？君のお兄さんと同じ年の息子がいるって。
エドワお兄さんにそっくり。違うのは瞳の色くらい。兄さんは青いけど。
Oh, the clothes that they're wearing too.
君、
Yeah.
絆の持ち方が違うよ。
But yeah, the first episode was literally called Blue-Eyed Casval.
そうそう。早く走らせようとしないで、お尻を浮かせて。うまいうまい、その調子。それがトロット。足で横腹を
But
叩
it's
くと。
funny, you're mocking him for his riding technique, and he's the one that knows how to ride.
そう、それがキャンター。君は筋がいい。きっといいカーボーイになれるよ。ほら、ごらん。
Yes, a space cowboy.
学校や教会がある。
No, it's a different anime.
僕の家も。
そこに住んでいるの？
いや、僕は中央コロニーのハイスクールに入ったから。
兄さんよ。
But who the hell is this good-looking guy?
How dare you talk to my sister?
シャア・アズナブルだ。
Okay, that was fast friends right there.
I mean, how could you not be
Although-
friends with your own clone?
I guess so. Also, the fact that she's taken with, oof, that's.
いろいろ新しいことが始まっています。
It's an eye color thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
今ルシファが変な息をしました。ルシファも年を取りました。
Yeah, he's not long for this world either.
コロニーはムンゾと違って。
Don't you put that evil out here?
シア付きの光が差し込んで明るい。
He's a cat. How long? 20 years at most?
よく見えます。あと
We don't know how
It's
old
been like
Lucifer
5
was.
years.
Yeah, but we don't know. Was Lucifer a kitten or already a cat? Or a cat?
Oh, just don't dwell on it, is all I'm saying.
シャアさんは兄さんと同い年で。
We know this is a world filled with bad shit. We don't need to make up more bad shit.
二人が会った時どうなるかと思いました。でも大丈夫でした。二人はいいお友達になれそうです。シャアさんに馬の乗り
Be careful what you write next.
もうキャンターまでマスター
Okay.
したのよ。今度はギャロップに。あ、兄さん。どうしたの？
Mama dead.
アルテシア。母さんが死んだ。
悲しいお知らせです。でもお知らせしなければなりません。気を強く持ってください。
Don't tell her to be brave.
ステライヤ様が昨夜
I would hate when people say, "Oh, be brave." Like, fuck you.
See, that's a cry. That's crying. Not whatever other sound was made in the other Gundam. That's crying.
Can't put their real names.
Casval looks like he about to become a problem.
せめてアストライアという名前だけでも刻んでやりたいが、誰に見られるかもしれず。
分かっています。秘密はお守りします。息子のシャアも何も知りません。
神のご加護を祈るだけです。あれたちと あなた方心優しき人たちのために。
Again, the change in tone is so dramatic.
Yeah, he knows he's being watched.
とても優秀でいらっしゃいます。ことにエドワウ君はどうでしょう。すぐにも上の学校へ進まれては。
はっきり言ってください。エドワウに何か？
はあ、エドワウ君の教育は私どもには。
The thumb twiddle. It's a classic anime trope.
悪いどころか何人かいた問題生たちがすっかりおとなしくなりました。彼のおかげで。ただ
He beat the crap out of them.
Yeah.
怖いのです。恐ろしいのです。
No, there were some hooligans, but you know, not anymore.
Your son's such a problem that he's making other people better.
エドワウ君のような子は知りません。明晰な頭脳、鋭い感性、類いまれな素質を持った子です。しかし、冷たいのです。
Just get the man a... If he's cold, get the man a sweater.
最悪をもたらすことがなければいいのですが。もう
結構だ。
おや、もうお済みですか。
あの校長はクビだ。
I don't think you have any authority anymore, Don. This guy's not very good at watching people. At least the guys at the airport or the spaceport weren't like
trying to.
Yeah, they weren't like eyeballing him walking by.
Give me a beer and a hot dog.
The man is hungry. He's gonna have turbo gas after that, but sure.
悪くない考えだとは思いますが、実はシャアは学校を中退してムンゾの士官学校を受験したんです。
ジオンの士官学校？
He's reading a book called The Cat.
It's about to pop off.
なんだい、坊や。
いつまで付きまとう気だ。
Oh.
坊や、これはどういう冗談だ。
The tongue looks like a drawn knife. Ow! Yeah, she felt that. Oh, so this is, oh, I guess it's like a Western Disneyland setup, I guess.
Oh, yeah, that's what they said. It's like a former theme park sort of thing. That's why the saloon was filled with kids.
Damn. Uh-oh. Yes, I am.
Yeah, that was his plan.
Imagine the alternate universe where Edward gets killed here.
ごめんよ、アルテシア。もうしないよ。
That's a lie. It's gonna happen.
I won't let you see me doing it, but you know.
I like that they gave an explanation of how they got the board with nails.
どうしたのルシファー。最近元気ないわね。明日村の動物病院へ行こうね。注射は
What?
痛くないから。
It's almost like the cat's aging.
士官学校に合格したんだ。すごいでしょ。てっきりダメだと思いました。だってすごい倍率なんですもの。やっぱり今熱いのはジオンですよ。ジオンズム大君の思想にようやく時代が追いついてきたんです。な、エドワーもそう思うだろう。え？
Uh-oh.
ああ。コロニー社会は今や一方的に収奪されている。ギレンザビの言う通りです。スペースノイドの富は奪われ、その富を使って地球人は地球を荒廃に導いてゆく。
I mean, it's not like he doesn't have a point.
True.
Yes, but when he's talking about the people that murder his you know, Casval's parents.
To be
it's like,
fair, I don't think he knows that.
I know.
Remember, they're not even using casval name anymore. He's Edward now.
お前はそんなつもりで軍人になるのか。なら父さんは許さんぞ。戦争なんてとんでもない。
まあまあ。
嫌な話ばっかり。シャアさんってあんな人だったかしら。ルシファー、ごめんね、置いてっちゃって。ご飯
Oh, don't do it. They did it.
Yeah.
Do you see the evil that you brought on? I'm here for it, but
I'm not. That's why Lucifer gets its own sticker in our Discord community. I hate this.
I mean, I didn't want the cat to die, but still, it was gonna, you know, foreshadowing was like.
Yeah, there's only one domino left to fall.
Yeah.
しばらく会えなくなる。ペアボロさんと話し合って決めた。僕はルームの学校へ行く。
ルーム？シャアさんの言っていた学校？でもあの人はジオンへ行って軍人になるのよ。
関係ない。僕は僕だ。さようなら、アルテイシア。
どうしてみんな行っちゃうの？どうしていなくなっちゃうのよ。お母さんが死んで、ルシファーも死んじゃったのに、お兄さんまで。待って、行かないで兄さん。キャスバル兄さん。
The voice actress really earned her paycheck because they're having these very long screams, you know.
Yeah.
The only thing that picks me up after the Lucifer death thing is the fact that Casval just slipped on a banana peel. If you look at the animation, right, the camera goes up next to his face and it whips to the side, but his hair falls over real quick. It was like he went whop right off the camera. All right, well, that episode really always depresses me, and not because the mom died, because Lucifer died. I don't know, I was never even really attached to that damn cat. It's just as attached as Sayla was to that cat. And, you know, it's the last thing she had left.
And then her brother says, well, I'm going. Bye.
Well, you know, you saw that coming from the dinner conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, but the way he did it, it's like he was so like caring for her and everything else, and it's like, oh, I gotta go. Screw you. Bye.
Well,
you know.
That's
and I know why he did it. I know why he did it. Because that's the scene when he beats up the guy. When she says, promise me you won't do this again. That's when he makes a decision. It's like, I can't do what I need to do if I stay with her. I have to break that line. I have to go. But you know, she was her morality pet, and now she cut that line.
All right. Well,
Casval is becoming a warrior
for that conversation that you want to have, Lessons.
Oh, about the sides?
The Lagrange points.
Okay.
I mean,
simple.
to be fair, all we might know is that the moon just could be in one of two locations at the moment that image is taken that puts it in one of two Lagrange points.
The only thing I have
The only thing is that
the only
it's very
thing I
simple.
have to add to this conversation is if you buy a house, make sure that the garage points of the foundation are solid, or else you might damage your car.
Lagrange point is the gravity middle of two bodies, right? So if this is the moon and this is the Earth, and you put your colonies on the other side of the moon, there's no middle point there.
There are Lagrange points in Earth around Earth orbit that can be placed between the moon and Earth.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The stations are done beyond the moon.
Yeah.
The way the graphic shows, you can't do that because there's no bodies between the moon and Earth and wider space.
No, there are.
You understand what?
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying I'm disagreeing with you, and also the science of the show is real, actual science. So, I'm saying that I'm gonna gamble on the people that had to do research for the show versus us, just normal guys. But I mean, yeah, true. But we're not astrophysicists either. I understand what you're saying, but it's the same thing as somebody who's like the same people that argue that the Earth is flat make logical statements too, but they don't know the stuff that they're wrong about. So logic can make you wrong.
Yeah, but in this case, the one thing would be that where side 3 is actually it's orbiting the moon, and at that moment we're seeing it. You know, when
I don't think it's orbiting the moon. I think it's in a position where it's in one Lagrange point 1 or 2, and the moon can pass by those points. I mean, obviously, I don't know the distance.
Literally, you can't.
No,
you can't because
it can. I'm not saying it's like passing by them like right nearby. I'm just saying like in a position that you could say eclipse the moon. I mean, eclipse the Earth.
Okay, that's the point.
Yeah, I know. I understand you're saying.
Point,
I understand you're saying the show is wrong, and I'm saying technically no. There are two Lagrange points that exist. I think technically they're supposed to be at Lagrange point 1.
Yeah, again, there should be at least 4 Lagrange points because it's not a perfect circle. That's what you have.
Well, there's a forward Earth orbit Lagrange point. There's a back orbit Lagrange point. There's one away from the sun. That's why I said forward orbit, back orbit, because it's based on.
But we're not talking about the Earth. We're talking about the moon.
Well, it's not at the moon. It's based on Earth. I don't know why you keep bringing up the moon other than the fact the moon was in the image, which just means that the moon was somewhere in its rotation around the Earth.
Yeah, but the way it's shown the moon here, and then you show the sides here on the outside.
By the way, your hands are off screen. I don't know what you're doing.
Okay, so here's Earth, here's the moon, here's side 3. It should be here between the Earth and the moon, and it's shown on the other side of the moon where there's no other body to anchor into Lagrange points. You understand what I'm saying? So if the moon is going between the stations and the Earth, it's not a Lagrange point.
No, I'm saying the Lagrange points are outside the moon orbit.
It can be.
It is. Justin, jump in here real quick with your garage jokes.
You're using the
So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take some time to organize your tools in your garage, because if you don't, it becomes a mess.
This is an L point to the sun, which is Earth, sun, but Lagrange points and the sides are between the moon and the Earth. So it should be inside here in the inside orbit of the Earth. All of them.
What I want at this point, I don't know anyone's going to stick around to have heard this argument, is for some commenter who thinks that they know science now to jump in so that we can do a comment response where you debate Lagrange points with a commenter. I've already stated I'm not an astrophysicist, but I believe that they've done more research. Look, so Sorry, I'm not gonna
I
go
just
there.
believe somebody thought it was a cool idea to make a graphic and put it there.
No, literally,
that's the
just
whole
about
point.
every Gundam series uses this concept.
See, and also, if you're gonna make a Le Mans cave, you shouldn't use the Le Garage because it gets cold at night, and like a lot of sporting events happen at night.
I feel like you're losing track of your own joke.
Yeah.
Most Le
Anyway,
Mans
going
caves
back-
are in the basement.
Aside from astrophysics, I did like this episode a lot. It introduced the again. Those are two Earth and the Sun. Anyway,
Keep making your point.
The thing is, I thought that they were gonna kill, Edward's sister. I think that was gonna think she's gonna die in a gun battle or something, or she was gonna get sick and
Why?
die.
Because the
but they
70
didn't.
guns they showed us on Texas Colony.
I was
No. When she got sick, I think, oh, she's gonna die because she was helping the refugees, and that would explain stuff.
I think that's still gonna be the final domino that falls.
Oh, I thought you said the final domino was going to be Casval dying.
No. I think
No, I don't think Casval is gonna die.
I think Casval, the final domino that's going to send Casval into full like warrior Spartan kill everybody, is going to be the death of his sister because he left her.
Well, you said there's one final domino to fall, and we were focusing on Sayla during that whole thing. So it's like, oh, I thought you meant the final domino for Sayla.
No, I did not.
Well, because this episode has predominantly been Sayla focused.
It's been heavy Sayla focused.
And,
that's also why I think her death is going to be the sort of final piece to push him over the edge. Because we're being given so much perspective from her side that I think that they're doing this like, hey, look what she thinks. Bang.
I mean, clearly
But
you
something
guys
has
can
to
see
happen.
the future so well. I mean, I didn't see Lucifer dying
Something's
the
gonna
first
happen
time.
first. Is that when they both go to the academy, and now next episode, I expect something to happen, which will be the second to last domino, I think. But I don't want to talk about it yet because that kind of spoils a lot of stuff. That it goes very heavily into Justin.
Yeah, I think it's weird that we always talk about dominoes falling, but no one ever uses like the metaphor of actually playing dominoes. You think nobody knows how to play dominoes anymore?
I know how to play dominoes.
You don't know how to play dominoes? It's just matching numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I know how to play dominoes.
It's just nobody ever says anything like domino related that's actually about. It'd be like if all the card metaphors that we use were like all 52 card pickup. It's like that's not how you play cards. Like if I kept hitting you with card metaphors and I was like making houses with cards.
Well, House of Cards is
but if that was all the metaphors we had about cards, right?
Yeah. Well, really,
House
there's
of
not,
Cards
a lot of
Monty.
there's not a lot of domino based analogies.
Yeah, just nobody ever makes an analogy like I don't know.
Is there any other than the dominoes will fall?
That's what I'm saying though, is that's not how you play dominoes.
There's so you have like cards.
What other analogy based thing can you think of that's entirely based on using a thing improperly?
I guess the only one that would fit domino, but actually comes from cards, is that this is the last card to play.
Yeah, but you're actually playing a card, right? So
yeah, but you can say the same. You can say the same thing about dominoes too, but we don't use it that way.
That's what I'm saying. It just seems weird. Anyway, just an observation. I was thinking because y'all give them dominoes to fall, and it's like, why do we keep using that word?
And once the first domino falls, the rest go.
Well, what I think is going to be the last straw on the donkey's back is going to be. Look, I mean, there's a lot of metaphors out there just mean the fucking same thing.
Well, wouldn't that be the camel?
Is it camel? I can't remember why.
Yeah, it's a camel.
But there's not a lot of hay in the desert, though, is there?
I mean,
So
still,
why would it be a camel?
Eventually, you run out of wind beneath your wings. You know.
Wait, what do camels eat?
well,
Camel
same
food.
thing. Same thing that most herbivores eat: grass, hay,
Yeah, I guess the desert isn't all desert, depending on where you are.
dates,
I don't know. I haven't read much about deserts lately.
palm shoots. I don't know.
Last time I was reading was about the salt trade. So, yeah, Sayla centric episode. The Lucifer thing is what always brings me down, and then remembering that it was coming is really what just downed me for the whole end. Because I mean, like you said, you guys, it's like you said, oh, I can see this coming, and it's like, oh, well. For one thing, I hate it when people see something coming that I never saw coming. Because then I know you're going to have no emotional impact to this. You fucking are calling it right now.
Oh, it depends of how it. No. I would say no because it depends how it works out. If you deliver in what you're setting up, and I figured it out, that's awesome because I figured out something. We're on the same frequency. It's when you set up something and we're like, yeah, this is gonna be dumb, and they're gonna go the dumb route, and they do the dumb thing. I'm like, I saw that coming, and that's when it's disappointing. If they do it right, it's awesome. When they do it wrong, it's just disappointing.
Well, I think the difference here is between, like, their mom, right? Their mom was
Mm-hmm.
obviously dying. There was no other way to read what was going on there. I mean, she could be in distress, but it still looked like she was dying. With Lucifer, I was like, maybe he's homesick, maybe he just hates being moved all these times, and he's just like ill-fitted for it. And then she's like, okay, we're gonna take you to the vet tomorrow, and we just keep coming back to Sayla and Lucifer so many times that I'm just thinking it's just another thing, because we just do it a lot during the episode. So then Lucifer is just dead on the floor when we walk in. It's like, oh man.
So the best explanation I can give, and this is from a film series, a series I hate because there's books and films and everything, which is I cannot stand Lord of the Rings. I think it is so dumb. It's a walking simulator. Give me hate in the comments. I know it's gonna come. But in the Fellowship of the Rings, there's so many people as part of this journey. And they have the one shitty guy, and you can clearly see he's not gonna last the whole journey. They pay that off very well by giving him a proper death that you don't see coming, but you feel it headed.
Yeah, when I screamed when that happened in the theater, it's like, oh my god, he ran out of hit points.
Oh, exactly. But like he goes through and he clearly goes full barbarian mode, starts getting mowed down, and you're like, shit, okay, never mind. You gave him a cool moment. He had an impact, and you're good.
I clearly do
Also
not
played by
remember
Sean
Lord of the
Bean.
Rings. Oh, that guy, okay.
Yeah, Sean, I know the actor's name. I just don't know the character's
What was that?
name.
Yeah, Boromir.
Boromir.
Yeah, well, see, I remembered his name instantly once I knew who you were talking about. God, he goes down so. I was going to say fast in the first hour of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I just completely forgot what you were. I was like, none of the halflings.
I'm sorry. I don't.
In the last hour.
I don't pay attention to
that's
any
like
of the
a 15-minute
details.
fight. Yeah.
Well, that's
I
what
don't
I'm
pay
saying.
attention to any of the details of J.R.R. Tolkien's walking simulator. I'm good.
Well, just I did not. I barely remember the fact he's a character. It's just there's so much movie, but I do watch this guy who does the fake. We call it the fake faces, the AI face thing, face replacement. But he's also a voice impersonator, so he watches and reacts to the movie as the characters in the movie. He did a lot for like Star Wars, the prequels, as Qui-Gon.
I know the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Sitting on the couch just talking about this shit. Like, oh, you're never gonna guess who's the Sith Lord here. It's not your fault, Qui-Gon. Nobody could have blamed you.
I mean, don't get me started on Qui-Gon because that's a useless character
Well,
right there.
my point is he does it with Lord of the Rings too. Like the whole Fellowship. He does all of them. That's the only reason I even remember Boromir.
How many episodes is Origins? 4? 5? Because it feels gonna be like
3,
a
isn't it?
4-parter. 3, yeah. Oh, yeah. It feels like we're past halfway what we need to set up. So
This is only a three episode thing.
Sorry, no. Sorry, you're talking about this? I just when you said Lord of the Rings.
No, Origins.
Oh, it's 5 or 6.
Really?
Okay.
Because it feels like it could be ending like next episode could be like the last.
Oh
one.
no, we're not close.
Because they set up all the pieces basically.
I'm pretty.
I guess
sure.
next week we'll be covering. When we went next record, we'll be covering the training, right, and the introduction of the mobile suits.
Yeah, they don't do it next time on, do they?
No.
All we know is that
Although the gun
Edward
tanks should be technically should be mobile suits, right? The Gundams.
It's 6 episodes.
The gun tank, the gun tank should be a mobile suit.
That is a point of debate.
I count
about
it as the origin of mobile suits because I think it lacks the thing that makes a mobile suit, which is mobility.
I mean, it has tracks,
but that's not mobility.
I mean, technically, you saw this episode, the birth of the mobile worker. So
yeah.
There, I would say that there is arguably one thing that defines a mobile suit and hasn't been introduced yet, so not going to talk about it.
Although the fact that it had like a little line in between, it's like, oh, you have a monocular eye, but every time it switches, it's going to see this thing in the middle, so it's...
Well,
oops.
Yeah, I guess because it, yeah, you said it, monocular eye. It can't do that thing where you can, where you put 2 fingers here and you'll see a 3rd finger floating in midair.
As someone who has a rule built around them for these recordings, I think at this point, what would make a mobile suit versus I'm going to say inferior form of weaponry, but it might not be inferior, but a different type of weaponry or suit or whatever we want to call them, would be that level of maneuverability to be able to move within all of the axes.
Trust me. Well, if anyone's listening this far, they're going to get into the comments and they're going to tell us. I did a poll series for the entire Gundam franchise. I didn't finish it because Griffin retired before I got to the year-long poll. But best mobile weapon in Gundam. Because mobile weapon is also... Sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze. Mobile weapon is its own category. Yeah, because mobile suits can also be in that category, but so can battleships and whatnot. And tanks. Yeah. Apparently also just jeeps can be a mobile weapon. So it's
also, one thing is weird that they haven't discussed Minovsky.
No. Dude, the Justin rule. What are you doing?
I don't know what the hell that means. So
yeah, I know you don't, but now you know to listen for it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's just such a fundamental aspect of Gundam.
I know. It was like I alluded to it before without actually saying it when I said there was a thing that probably defines, and then didn't say the words. Be more vague.
While you guys determine what's going on, I'm just going to mute myself because I've said all I can for the episode.
Well, I think we're about done.
Yeah, I think if any of us are done, we should just go then. Once again, I have been Theta. Below me is Justin. Beneath him is Lessons. And we've been Stone-Faced Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?